This video is about the correct historical development of any human society. The historical development of society is the process of changing the social, economic, political, and cultural position of society over time. Based on my theory of the nature of human and social development, disclosed in my book, Humans and Human Society, the ideology of the correct historical development of any human society, regardless of the level of historical development of society, can be presented as follows. The system of social organization of society corresponds to the level of historical development of society and, accordingly, to the level of development of thinking, intellect, and consciousness of the majority of society members, forming the collective consciousness of society. The economic structure of society is based on the egoistic, materially oriented interests of society members. The system of political governance of society corresponds to the level of development of thinking, intellect, and consciousness of the majority of society members, forming the collective consciousness of society. The political elite of society and the elite of society, hereinafter referred to as the elites of society, are formed from members of society who have the highest level of development of thinking, intellect, and consciousness, and are not under the influence of big capital and or external forces. The elites of society are aware of and are able to fulfill their mission to preserve and to ensure historical development of society. The elites of society have an ideology of development of society, which includes the preservation and dynamic sovereign historical development of society. The elites of society are interested in the dynamic historical development of society. The elites of society act in the interests of society. The elites of society do not use the oligarchic system of governing society. The elites of society do not use power for personal interests. Lobbying and protectionism are prohibited by law. The elites of society do not use corruption as a means of governing society. Representatives of big capital are deprived of the opportunity to influence the system of governing society. Effective measures of public control over the activities of the elites of society are applied. Favorable conditions for competition between members of society are created. Favorable conditions for competition within society in the social, economic, political, and cultural spheres of society are created. The impossibility or inexpediency of competition in certain spheres of society is compensated for by a more rigid system of governance of the specified spheres of society. Favorable material conditions for the development of society members are created, that is, the opportunity to eat normally, take care of one's health, live in safety, etc. Favorable non-material conditions for the development of society members are created, that is, freedom of thought and speech, access to information and education, the opportunity to live and develop freely, respect for the rights and freedoms. Education, science, and culture are developing. Favorable conditions for the development of private initiative of members of society have been created. A system of counteraction to everything that hinders the development of thinking, intellect, and especially consciousness of society members has been created. Members of society are interested in raising the level of development of their thinking, intellect, and especially consciousness. A system of incentives for society members to raise the level of development of their thinking, intellect, and especially consciousness has been created. Favorable conditions have been created for attracting people from other societies with a higher level of thinking, intellect, and consciousness to society. Favorable conditions have been created for the technological development of society. The upbringing and education of members of society is aimed at raising the level of development of thinking, intellect, and especially consciousness of members of society. Favorable conditions have been created for raising the level of spiritual development, justice, spiritual values, and morality of members of society. Legal and social justice for members of society is ensured. An independent and impartial court operates. A system of effective interaction between society and religious associations has been created to accumulate and analyze relevant knowledge about the nature of the universe. Religious associations are centers for the accumulation, analysis, transmission, and explanation of relevant knowledge about the nature of the universe to believers. A system of incentives has been created for religious associations to educate believers in order to develop their thinking, intellect, and consciousness in accordance with relevant knowledge about the nature of the universe. The system of punishment excludes the negative influence of the society members with a lower level of development of thinking, intellect, and consciousness on the society members with a higher level of development of thinking, intellect, and consciousness. The inevitability of punishment of the society members for committing illegal acts proportionate to the level of development of thinking, intellect, and consciousness of society members. The legal system excludes the negative influence of the members of other societies with a lower level of development of thinking, intellect, and consciousness attracted to society on members of society and on the level of development of the collective consciousness of society. Strict measures of punishment are applied to the society members for committing illegal acts on the basis of egoistic, materially oriented interests. More severe penalties are applied for illegal acts committed by members of society, for example, political elite of society, an official, a judge, a prosecutor, etc., on whom, due to their position in society, the fate of society members depends. Since different human societies have different levels of historical development, therefore, different human societies will require different lengths of historical period to create a historically promising society. Detailed explanation and justification of the above and much more relevant information you can find in my book, Humans and Human Society, which is available at the link posted below in the description to this video.